Wait for more. I mean, it's Webit, so we have more to show. Just for the record, I just gave one stand for free at the Leaders Summit to the best startup who pitched there on the stage. If you haven't been there, you've missed a lot. So we have already one secured startup out of the 200 who will be entering the Founders Games at the Global Webit Summit. And also I gave some other awards there. So, you know, just to keep you updated. And probably, you know, you see some of the posts here. A great guy, which I like very much, Darin from UCC, who is trying to teach the guys a better way to know what they need to know. He's around here. Good to have you here, Darin. Did you do your presentation over there? Was it packed? Good, I like it. All right, so now it's time to say a big, huge thank you again. Because when we started here, you know that actually we gave only a month advance notice that this is not going to be Webit Bulgaria anymore, that this is going to be Webit CEE, because we started covering regions, not countries anymore. Unfortunately, our team is not limitless, so we needed to make Central Eastern European events, Middle East, North African event, and others on the road. So it was only a month time we gave advance notice to so many people around the world. We already have about 300 people coming from all these countries around Central Eastern Europe. And obviously, at that stage, we were ready to call for a bigger and better and more interesting speakers, because at the end of the day, you are the most important, but speakers should not waste their time, because their time is precious like all of ours. So now we make sure that these speakers really, we add value to them and they add value to you. And our next speaker, Carolyn, is one of these great speakers. She's, I'm reading the title, Regional Business Development Director of Digital Market Intelligence, CEE GfK. So please join us on stage. Thank you. Thank you for joining. I'm so honored and happy to be here with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So definitely the longest title here to start with, so something impressive to start with. It's always good. Yeah, thank you very much for having me here today. I'm taking a slightly different angle on social media now, so not talking about internal stuff, as we heard just now, but really talking about external, or really the world of your promoters, your fans, your whoever they want to be, so definitely not just consumers. I absolutely agree there. What am I talking about today? It's not just because I think all of you know that, and probably, you know, when you see the presentation title first, you think, okay, so she's telling us now we should all invest in social media, and that's really very important, and yeah, this is what you should do. No, that's not what I'm here for. You've heard that a million times. It's really to basically look at social media from a slightly different angle. So what am I talking about, really? You know, we live in a world of data overload, so you know I don't really need to go into detail there, but really just as a tiny little introduction here. And what we need nowadays is we need to use the data to generate insight. It's this big buzzword, actionable results, actionable insight here, and we need to integrate data as well. Yeah, all blah blah so far. So what does that really mean in the social media analysis space for us? When we do social media analysis, we don't want to talk about analysis, because analysis is just looking at boring figures, but really looking at intelligence here. Often we meet clients who basically are very scared about the social media space. Yeah? They even hire people who basically look after their Facebook fan pages or things like that, but we always try to tell them, don't worry, even if you're not active in the social media space, you should listen to it. You should really try to find information within it. You know, that is really the core thing, because obviously this is what people trust nowadays. This is really the recommendations that people trust. It's important that when you look at this space, you do not only look at Facebook and Twitter, because often we see that our clients really misunderstand it, and they think, yeah, if we're active on Facebook, that's exactly what we need to do. Probably have someone tweeting something every now and then, yeah, and that's it. But it's really, we see more and more also the area of the video space, commenting, forums, there's more and more forums popping up when we compare our world to the Asian world, where portals and things like that don't even exist anymore, more or less, but it's really all about private blogs and things like that, or more and more microblogs as well now outside of Twitter. That's really exciting. And as we heard before, it's all mobile. So it's not just that every now and then we access our Facebook page and we see a couple of comments and we're influenced by them. But now with the huge smartphone penetration, or ever-increasing smartphone penetration, we're influenced all the time, and we have the possibility to influence all the time. But what does that really mean in the area of social media intelligence here? So let's look at it from a completely different angle, and that's the market research angle to it here. Using, as I said at the very beginning, using social media to understand innovation processes, to basically improve your entire communications behavior. And basically what you normally do as a company, if you want to improve stuff or do market research, often you do focus group, this traditional focus group research. So what is that? You take loads of people, you put them into a room, and you ask them loads of questions. And we basically think that social media, the whole social media space, is like a gigantic focus group. And people talk about loads and loads of different things. So why don't you look at social media as something like a qualitative quant tool, or quantitative qual tool, doesn't really matter. So you have a very, very, very large group of people, and you can ask them loads and loads of different questions. You just need to filter the information that you find in the social media space accordingly. So, collect all of the data, but then, I'm sure loads of you guys use social media analysis, and they know that there's loads of great positive comments about your company or a particular product, or, your clients' companies. But what does that tell you? You've got loads of positive comments, maybe more positive comments than your competitors. You can pat yourself on the back and say, it's great, yeah? But what can you do with it? Nothing. So the most important thing is that you ask the right questions, and already in the coding process, so when you start working with the data, ask the questions as you would treat a focus group. So what would you want to know? You would want to know, let's take an example here from contact lenses. Yeah, what would you want to know? Do you have a problem with, contact lenses giving you dry eyes? How easy is the shopping experience? Do you find what you want? Do you find them too expensive? Yeah, if you ask all of these questions and you code the answers accordingly, this is actually what you can find out from social media. And normally what you do in the traditional market research world is you do a focus group, and you find things out, and then you take them into a big quant survey where you ask thousands and thousands of people the same questions, just to really have a robust answer there, that it's not only the 20 people in the focus group but everybody thinking the same thing. But it's a very, very strict model really that you're interacting in, because you don't really know what's interesting to people. There's a moderator who basically thinks about the questions, but it's always like, it's great, isn't it? It's sort of moving you into one certain direction, and it's really important just to look at it very, very openly. And yeah, just another example here of what you can potentially do. So, sentiment structure is interesting. Is it something positive? Is it something negative? But it's really also, as you can see on the left-hand side, the buzz per topic. So what is it that people talk about? It might be that you're doing some normal research, some focus group research, and the moderator is constantly talking about a topic that is not at all important, that people don't really care about, but they think, and the company thinks this is the most important topic, whereas actually it's a completely different topic. But yeah, that's not enough. Just to look at it separately is really not enough. So it's really important to have some data integration here and to use social media intelligence, as it says here, as the missing link. Use it for innovation processes, use it for even explaining peaks and slopes in your sales data. Loads and loads of different stuff you can do with it. A lot of companies do brand trackers. So basically they want to understand how the image of a company changes also in the competitive set. If you want to explain that, often you can't really. So you blame it on the politics, the weather, you always find an excuse, holiday time, something is always right, but it's always a bit wishy-washy. Same thing, obviously, you always, and we heard that before, you always need figures to prove that your campaign was effective. But is it really a click rate nowadays? Not really. Yeah, was your online campaign effective? You had loads of clicks. Nobody clicks on ads anymore. Often there's not even, a landing page anymore. So it's really, what do people think about it? There's loads of consumer satisfaction, loyalty stuff. Obviously, people complain about products all the time, but they also say great customer service, things like that. One of my favorite areas is the whole area of product and concept testing. So really not only searching for a particular brand or product name online and doing analysis on that, but really a very generic word, very, very generic product idea. So, for example, we've done something on the area of snacking, where we just wanted to understand, what is it that people talk about when they talk about snacking, picnic, things like that? What do they recommend? And on that basis, the company that we were working with actually developed some really cool new biscuits. Biscuits on the go, and things like that. So it's really the innovation space in here that's quite important. But, let me really not bore you with any more theory here, but let me show you some cool examples actually of what I mean. So yeah, first, this is probably the most boring example, but we have to start with something, hey? At least chose a nice picture. But this is really what you probably already know. So proving within the social media space that your campaigns were effective. We've done some research here where basically we compared sales, so actual sales figures within one of our panels that we work with, where people report all of their FMCG shopping. Basically, we compared people who are not fans of certain brands with people who are fans. So you can see, on Facebook sites, particular brand pages there, but also who are generally interested, and this was an example for beauty here, who are generally interested in the beauty topic, so who visit beauty blogs, beauty forums, and we could see that these people actually do spend more. So if you have an interest there, it was just a really, really nice example for this client, because they have a very big Facebook presence, they invest a lot of money into that it's actually worth it, that people who are their fans actually spend more on their brand. But what can it also do? As I said before, a lot of companies want to know about their reputation, and they do brand trackers. So they regularly ask people certain image questions about their brand, competitive brands, and often there's slopes and you can't really explain them. So what happened here is that we had a client who produces baby formula, so basically this powder that when you mix it with water, that's like a baby porridge, really. Basically what happened here is that suddenly we saw a big slope in purchase intent and favorability questions. And nobody could explain it, so we did like an emergency social media deep dive where we found out that slowly but surely, and you know how crazy parents can be online, yeah? There's so many forums about, my baby poo looks like this and that, yeah? The same thing here. Slowly but surely they started talking about that the color of the baby formula when you mixed it just slightly changed. It was a bit more yellow than it was before, and they started talking about they're trying to poison our babies, and it's a crazy thing, and it looks different, maybe it tastes different as well, and then people were 100% certain that it tastes different now as well. It's not good anymore. We picked it up very early. The client basically changed it back to the original color. They didn't even react to it, because obviously, you probably know there was another baby food manufacturer where suddenly, I think, food turned blue, something like that, or a whole different color. A whole big shitstorm happened before they actually discovered it. They reacted to it in the worst way, and very, very actively trying to explain, and sometimes this is not really the right thing to do. So basically what they did, they just secretly change it back, not secretly, but they changed it back. We did another test, I think 6 months later, everything was fine again, sales was fine, but it's just an early warning system, really. This is one of my favorite clients here, one of our mobile operators in Russia, actually, who came to us and said, we want to monitor only what our competition is doing. We don't care about what people think about us, and it's only the negative stuff that we care about. And obviously, as advertising is moving so quickly nowadays, and particularly with online and mobile advertising, which is their key focus now, you can change messaging so quickly. What they get from us is a monthly report with the most negative things, sort of the top 10 negative things of their competition. They pick it up straight away. So let me give you an example. There was a competitor who had huge problem with network connectivity in Siberia. Yeah, so everybody is commenting about it online. So it's shit, doesn't work. We need to change the supplier. They picked it up and had a huge online campaign saying we've got the best network connectivity in Siberia. Something very quick and easy, and very, very reactive to the market. When you do purchase journey research, or you want to understand how people actually arrive at a certain purchase, loads of online points are obviously very influential, loads of blogs are influential. And if you really want to find out what it is that people read there and what it is that influences them the most, obviously social media intelligence can help a lot as well. I'm sure all of you are familiar with social TV now, very important. Loads and loads of people constantly commenting on the TV series that they watch, not only just the series, but TV shows, everything, and picking that up and actually learning from it. We did a general study on that, where we found out that it's not really just, and this is what I thought before, it's just Facebook, or Facebook and Twitter that people use, but we see that the more specialized a TV series or TV show is, the more commenting actually happens outside of Facebook and Twitter, and the more interesting stuff from the real fans happens on very particular blogs, very particular forums here. So it's really important to look at the entire web and not just the main channels here. Nice example from Africa here. We had a car client in Africa with a regional marketing hub in South Africa. And they wanted to be very clever and said, yeah, Nigeria is an important market for us. Let's launch a new campaign where we educate people about all of our products, all of the new cars that are coming out next year. And because we think the Nigerians, they don't know anything about our products. Okay? Very, very big car brand, and quite a significant market share in this country. And luckily, there was, one of the smaller marketing managers raised his hand and said, shouldn't we find out first what people know about our brand in Nigeria before we actually launch this campaign and people think, I know this already? Luckily, we did that. So luckily, we did a very quick deep dive here where we found out people know so much about this brand. It's actually the brand that's most talked about online. So this money would have gone entirely to waste. However, we found something really important out for them, and they're just in the process of producing a really cool campaign. We found out that in Nigeria, it's a common practice that people give a car as a wedding present. So normally this is the first time that you own an own car when you get married. And everybody who comes to the weddings are huge, contribute so that you can have the car, or at least, a smaller loan for the car. And this is the absolute favorite recommended brand for a wedding present. So they found it really, really exciting, and are starting a campaign now with a strapline around start your family with and probably in our brand's car. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a cheeky campaign, but it was great because it really showed them what this thing is all about and how Nigerians perceive the brand. My absolute favorite example here is something that we did in the US. And as you know, there's this huge organic trend happening, right? Around the world, everything has to be organic. And now the US is taking it a step further. They want to have organic detergents, organic laundry stuff, because apparently, the chemicals in the clothes, they go into your skin, and that's really bad for you. Yeah? So we had a manufacturer coming to us, and they said, we need to understand whether our R&D people are completely insane or whether they're actually okay, because they want to launch a range called Grandmother's Recommendation, which is entirely based on organic stuff. So it's some orange zest and loads of organic stuff in there. So again, here we didn't look for a brand because that doesn't exist yet, but we looked at stain on silk. most delicate fabric, yeah, that's the first product that they wanted to launch. So stain on silk, and we found loads of stuff where people actually really recommended, oh yeah, you know, this is the old thing, how you should use that. So we found about probably 45% of comments were still, you know, use this in a product, so an existing chemical product, but there was loads of organic or homemade recipes against removing the stain. So A, we could give them the approval they're moving into the right direction. And the second thing was that we can also, they could also pick up the real verbatim of how people describe it, what the big advantages would be of using an organic product here. So yeah, I think they've launched it at the beginning of the year. I haven't seen any sales data yet, but you know, if we listen to the web, it's apparently a very good idea, at least in the US. And coming to the last example for today, often certain companies with difficult topics, yeah, with products that, you know, especially in the healthcare area, but also when it comes to sanitary towels or loans, you know, loads of financial institutions, they have big problems really asking their customers about what it is that they're missing about their products, or asking any questions, because for people it's a bit like, I don't want to talk about that at all. Yeah, and definitely not in front of other people, and maybe even record it, yeah, and they know who I am. So there was this wonderful client that we had here in Eastern Europe who had huge difficulties developing their product against erectile dysfunction further, yeah, because they couldn't possibly find not even 10 men who would come in and do a focus group discussion on erectile dysfunction. Yeah? It was impossible to get these people to participate. And they tried all sorts of methodologies, and even with anonymous online panels where you send a random email address an email, they thought, no, but they can trace it back to me. I'm not answering this at all. So this is obviously great, because in the social media world, people are anonymous, and you can be Big Bear 2010 or whatever in a forum and can talk about your problems. Nobody will ever know who you are. And we found loads and loads of stuff here, and that really helped the client develop the product further, develop some new marketing for the product as well, a whole new angle to it towards sort of partying. It was very interesting. But yeah, you can see, you can use it for loads and loads of different things. In the end, just to summarize, we really need to not only use social media to communicate, but really also to generate more insight, more intelligence, integration, because in the end, all we want is this. All we need is love. All we want is love. We had that before. We want our clients to love our brand, so we need to understand what they love about it and how they can love it even more. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, dear. All about love. Thank you very much.
It's all about love.
Thank you. Come,
Let me give you some love.
Thank
you.
thank you for joining.
Thank
Please
you.
stick here around. There is a discussion panel which will be Q&A with all the audience here, so please be with us.
I promise.
Thank you very much.